They move my buttons around. I'm like, maybe I won't record. Welcome to the call. I'm Bree. I've been a coach for 5 years. If you don't know my story, I will share a little bit about that. But tonight we want to talk a little bit about what a coach is, what we do. I think there's a lot of online businesses these days. Like, right? Girls are like rocking online businesses. It's how literally 85% of women that make over 6 figures are doing it with network marketing. So if you think this is a scam, if you think it's a pyramid scheme, you're wrong. It's a very incredible opportunity that lots of women and men have been super successful in creating like livelihoods for their families, and creating like this income and freedom. So I made a post tonight and I want to talk a little bit about it. Is everybody has different goals, but for me, it was just really time freedom. And this business has given me the opportunity to really plug into something. I absolutely love it, but it's given me flexibility with my time. So I do have Chelsea on the call. She's going to share her story. She is a brand new coach. So this is her very first hosting of anything. And I asked her to be on the call because she has a really incredible story. We are local to each other. We've become really close friends. I know her sister. I know her family. So, but with that being said, it's taken her 5 years to sign up as a coach with me on our team. And I don't say that to embarrass her. I just say it because it's so cool how it's just a true testament of like, this business is not an overnight thing, but it is so real that she watched me for the last 5 years and was finally like, okay, this is not a gimmick. This is not a scam. This is something that could absolutely change my situation and where I want to be in life. And she also wanted that time flexibility. So I'll let her share more about her story, but I asked her to be on the call because I think so many people follow me. And if you follow me, you know, like I've been doing this a long time. And if you're new to my story, like I've been in it a really long time. So to hear somebody who's just jumped in, you're going to hear kind of why she started, and what she's going to do with this and kind of a little bit about that. So, I do want at the end of the call, if you were inspired, if you're ready, if you're encouraged and you're like, let's do it, girl, like I'm in, I would love for you to reach out to the coach that invited you to this call. So not me. If it was me that invited you, great, reach out to me. But whoever invited you to the call, ask them questions, reach out, and get set up. So after the call, if you have anything extra. But you can ask questions in the chat, you can unmute yourself, or just reach out to the person after. So a little bit about Beachbody. I want to give you just a little glimpse, a little sneak peek into what coaching is, what Beachbody is all about. I'm sure you've heard of P90X, Shaun T, Insanity, online workout programs, Shailene Johnson. Beachbody is the #1 at-home fitness company, okay? But we are not just fitness. We're a lifestyle brand, so we've got products to help people with their fitness and nutrition goals. We've got nutrition plans that are created by nutrition experts, okay? We've got Shakeology, fitness apparel, so you name it, they've created it. We've got so much to encompass a healthy lifestyle. And as a Beachbody coach, you have a website where you earn a portion of sales made from selling any of those items. So while I would say that we are not a selling brand, you have the option to have a website and send people there, and like any purchase that's made, you earn a commission off of. And it's an amazing company if you're into fitness. It's also an amazing company if you have fitness and health goals, because it plugs you into a resource with support that you know you're just not going to get at a gym. You're not going to get by yourself. So yes, I'm sipping a margarita. Going to take a drink. Chelsea's got her wine. So again, lifestyle is all about balance. I haven't had a drink probably since Chelsea's been over, to be honest. It's been a hot minute. So I want to share with you guys a little bit about my story. I don't want to spend a long time with it, but I love to kind of share where it came from before Beachbody. I grew up in a homeschooled family, so I have 2 sisters and a brother who was homeschooled. So anybody that says, like, I'm from a small town or I don't know many people, I didn't have any type of social media growing up. I was homeschooled. I was in the church. My dad was a pastor, and I was a missionary kid most of my life. So we were in and out of churches, in and out of different countries. He taught at a Bible college in Africa, so very religious, very restricted, like homeschooled little bubble. So when I got into high school, I was the rebellious preacher's daughter, if you want to call it that. A lot of people are like, mean girls, you're the girl, like the homeschooled from Africa. But I started dabbling in drugs. I would sneak out. I was really not into the like just suppressed religion environment that I was in. I felt like I was really struggling. I started getting an eating disorder, and I started getting into drugs with people that I had met through the local high school that I was taking some classes at. And I moved out of my parents' house right when I could. Literally, like, called a friend. I said, pick me up. I didn't look back. And so I didn't have much family contact. I was homeschooled again, didn't know anybody. So I got, after high school, pretty into drugs, alcohol, and I was in an abusive relationship. I was dating a guy, definitely did not support me as a woman with anything that he could do to degrade me and make me feel like I needed to stay with him. That it was bad. It was really bad. And I stayed in that relationship way too long. But I used alcohol, and I would escape with my job, and then I would go out and party, and that was just kind of my life. I didn't go to college. I didn't really have like a plan. It was kind of like, I'm dating this guy, and what he says goes, and so drugs and alcohol were how I coped. My eating disorder only became worse because of my body image. I had literally very, very low self-esteem. And so the one thing that I could control was my body, was my eating, and I think that's why it became what it did. At one point, I was down to 89 pounds as a 19-year-old girl, which is insane to me. I'm 5'3", so 90 pounds was scary. I wasn't eating for days, and then I would cope with a cigarette and vodka. And so that was my life. I did get out of the relationship, long story short. Pulled myself out of it. I was working in a bar. I was managing a clothing store, but I still felt really like at a low point. And then just plugging into work wasn't what I needed. It wasn't what I wanted, but I really didn't know what I wanted. And fast forward, I got pregnant at 22 years old. I was rocking 2 jobs, solo momming. I was like, all right, we're going to do this. Luckily, the guy stuck around. He was a pretty sweet dude and stuck around. We got a house, but I was still struggling. New mom life, pregnancy was really rough. I was on bed rest. I had to quit both my jobs, and I had put up walls against this relationship because I was trying to protect myself and trying to be cautious going into it. We hadn't known each other that long. We had probably hung out for about a year and a half. And it was nothing like super serious. We were just dating. And so the fact that I got pregnant terrified me to let this person in. And so I got a house that I couldn't afford, working 2 jobs, knowing that if I didn't get a paycheck every week that equaled a certain amount, I couldn't afford rent. So it was very much paycheck to paycheck. I thought that once I had her, I was going to get the mom gene, and I was going to be like loving life again and be happy, and she was going to fulfill me. But what really happened was I had her, and I fell into deep postpartum depression, hated my body even more, fell back into eating disorder habits. I decided to go back to work to help pay bills, and her dad moved in. Things were kind of okay, but I was really struggling. I felt isolated. I felt alone. And I didn't know how to deal with that because I thought, I have this baby. Like, my life is great. Like, why am I so miserable? So I kind of just held it in, started drinking wine every night, started monitoring what I was eating, started like really kind of falling into those old habits again. So I found randomly this post on social media from a mom who was sharing about her postpartum, sharing about her struggles and how she had gotten through it. And it stuck to me, and I commented on it, or must have liked the post, and she reached out to me and talked to me for 6 months. 6 months. She talked to me about coaching, and I was kind of scared to spend the money, scared to invest, scared to jump in, but my heart just kept saying, like, this seems right. This feels right. It doesn't seem like a scam. It feels like something that I want to be a part of. She talked about the support, the community, and I was like, I need that. I have no friends. I'm barely talking to my family. Aaron's working all the time. Like, all of these things that I'm just feeling really isolated and alone, and I'm not feeling fulfilled in my job. I'm not feeling fulfilled in motherhood. I'm just struggling. So I remember the night I signed up, I laid Sophia, my daughter, down in her crib. She was about 8 months at the time, and I walked through her room to the door, and we had one of those like little Walmart over the door. You all know the full length mirrors that you get from Walmart when you're in college or going going on a budget. And I remember walking by that mirror, and I had a nursing bra on, and I had volleyball shorts on, and I remember very clearly just my brain starting to rip my body apart. And I just broke down, and it still makes me cry because I realized I couldn't take care of her like I wanted to, like I said I was going to, if I couldn't even take care of myself. What kind of role model was I going to be for her? And I can talk the talk all day long and tell her she's beautiful and tell her she's loved and, you know, put food on the table for her, but what kind of mom would I be if I myself couldn't even say that I was beautiful, that I didn't feel like I mattered, that I deserved happiness? All of these things were things that stemmed from so deep that I didn't even truly understand it, but I was like, you know what, that fitness chick, like she's gonna help me pull out of some sort of depression, like she's gonna help me. So I literally messaged her that night and said, you know what, I don't really care what it costs, like I'm gonna put it on a credit card and I'm gonna figure it out. You said I can run a business with this, like I'm in, because literally nothing is in my life is going to change unless I try something different. Right? Like I'm going to continue working retail. I'm going to continue down this bad, destructive path. So I signed up, and here I am 5 years later. So I'm going to fast forward through my life really, really quick. My first year in the business, I completed my first few programs with Beachbody, and I loved them. I loved not having to go to a gym and feeling really awkward and not knowing what I was doing. I loved that I had accountability from the support groups that my coach ran, and then I got to run and encourage other people to join. And I overcame my eating disorder. Woo. It's still something that I work on. I was diagnosed with body dysmorphia, so every time I look in the mirror, I see flaws, but it's something that I've learned how to take care of myself through. I quit my full-time job. I was able to fire my boss and get out of retail, which was miserable to me. I was a slave to that job, and I felt like I had no time with my daughter. I was really like that 9 to 5, but also like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. if required. Like that was my life. And I missed out on so much of my daughter's first year of life I didn't want to miss anymore. So was able to leave my job and literally walk in and say, I don't want to do this anymore. Like this is my notice, and walked out because I was making an income with sharing my fitness journey with other people and sharing my story. I've now had 2 more daughters, so I have 3 girls. I'm just retired my boyfriend from his job where he was working 60 to 70 hours a week in the bar management side of things, which was just toxic to our life and just wasn't a good fit. So I brought him in January. He's now home full time for like the last 6 months now. Yeah, so I've just been obsessed with this business and the confidence that it's given me. I love it. Like I love it so much. And I think that's all I wanted to share about my story. So I've hit cool ranks in the business. I've created amazing income. I've met some of my best friends. I have gained, honestly, the confidence. Like the confidence has been a game changer in my life. Like to be a mom that I want to be and to be the person that I want to be without being scared of what people are going to think. I never used to be that person. And so to have that confidence and have that like just freedom to be who I want to be and say what I want to say and do what I want to do because it's what I want in my life and not what I think other people think that I need in my life or should say or do in my life. So the cool thing with Beachbody is it's not about sales. It's about sharing what you're doing that works. And for me, it was about plugging into that resource of having support and all of that went along with it that helped pull me out of what I was in. I like who the business attracted. It was people that were going after more, people that weren't settling in their life. So, yeah, I want to introduce Chelsea. She's going to share her story. That's a little bit about me. Chelsea's been a coach for, 30 days? I don't know. I feel like, let's unmute you. There we go.
Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, like a month.
I'm like, not even, like you just got your stuff in the mail. She's dove literally like right into her workouts, like started them. She's doing the program that I'm doing. We're all doing them together and is freaking killing it. So Chelsea's going to share her story of like So
I don't even know what to say after all that.
oh my gosh, you have an incredible story. So I just want you to share, like, on the flip side, you know, I've been through it 5 years. I've had success with the business. I've done all the things, and I think people can be intimidated by that. So from your perspective of just diving in and like, and where, you know, where you're coming from as far as like what attracted you and your why and like why you joined.
Why I watched you for 5 years.
Yes.
If you hear my dogs barking, they just decided they're going to bark right now. So yeah, I have known Bree. So listening to her story, which I've heard 500 times, and I love it every single time that I hear it. It's true. It's not a lie. I've known her since the struggles and through all of that. She was a roommate with Brittany, 10 years ago? Forever ago. So yeah, she's right. I did watch her for the whole 5 years. She used to come into Bohm where I worked. And every time I'm like, dude, I want to do that. I want to do what you do. I think it'd be awesome. And I just knew like, then it wasn't my time. And at that point in time, I did love what I did. Working retail, working with people. Almost 2.5 years ago, I had my son, who's not here. Otherwise I would show you, even though a couple of you have already probably seen him. And I knew a long time ago that I needed to be my own boss. And I always thought, hey, I'm going to open my own boutique. That I did research, I dove into all that, wasn't for me. After having Rogan, I knew that 50 plus hours a week living someone else's dream was not for me at all. And Bree knows this. She worked retail for how many years? I worked retail for 11 years, managed for 5. I just knew I needed more, and I needed to give myself a new challenge. I needed to set myself apart, and I needed more opportunity because there was no growth in the company I was in. So I did decide, when was the end of March, to leave my retail job and pursue a dream I had of doing photography, which is another business that I'm also running in conjunction with this. So I've been doing that since about April full time. When was it? I reached out to you in I think a couple months ago we talked. So it was a couple months after I left, and I knew photography was going to be slow starting. You're starting your own business, all that kind of stuff. And I knew I needed something else that I could do to also bring in a little more income and to do something for myself. So I reached out to Bree finally after 5 years. I
don't know how many times I would come into Bohm where she worked and you would be like, I think I
want to do it.
And I'm like, girl, message me, email me. Like you know where to find me.
And I message you about new products so you could come in and shop.
Yes.
So diving in, one thing I do love about Beachbody, and this is different. It's a different world, but it's an amazing world because what you put in is what you get out. So if you're going to put in, okay, I show up and I do my workouts, cool. Like that's what you're going to get out of it. And I'm guilty of this. I haven't gotten on and talked a ton. I haven't told my full story on social media yet. So you guys are going to get a little glimpse into my past, and why I kind of joined. But one thing I was going to say about Beachbody is everybody has their story. And for 5 years, I didn't think I had one. And I didn't think I would listen to Bree's stories and I would see the things that she posted. And I'm like, dude, I've never struggled with addiction. I'm not self-conscious about my appearance. I'm a super confident person and I'm a very strong-willed person. But I knew that there's a reason I kept being intrigued about it. And there's a reason that I came back every single time, whether I dove in or I was just like, hey, I want to do what you do. But there was something that finally clicked in me. And I'm like, you know what? I do have a story to tell. And it's it's honestly, when Brie was telling hers, I was jotting notes down, and for 5 years, like I said, I didn't think I had a story, and then I realized I did, and it's a door that I never wanted to knock on. It's a door, like, let alone open. It's something that I put in my past. It's something that I never wanted to confront again, even though it's something that, like any of us, we're going to live with that part of us. So, I don't know what just happened.
Sorry, I just muted somebody. You're good.
Okay. My screen changed and I was like, woo! So roughly 3-ish years ago, we're just going to dive full throttle in. I was in a very domestic violent relationship. And when people hear that, I don't want to get into full details yet, but when people hear that, it's such a foreign topic. It's a topic that people don't like to talk about, including myself. And during this, it was a very short time frame, but during this time, I never would have thought that that was my life, that is what I was going through until people are telling me, like, you need to go talk to somebody, you need to, like, let this out and relieve the weight that you're holding and that you're carrying. And sure, I talked to a million friends, I talked to my parents, like, they all knew that, but there's something about talking to somebody who you don't know that makes you open your eyes to a whole new world. So there was no physical abuse. It was emotional and verbal abuse, big time, which a lot of people don't ever think that they're in that, but even the slightest, like, downgrade or anything like that is part of that. And that's exactly what mine was. And until, I don't know, 6 months to a year after that it happened, I finally admitted, like, okay, if I can check off 8 of these 10 red flags, like, that's me. That is me. That's what my life was for that time frame. And to this day, it affects how I view relationships. It affects how I view people. It affects my trust in people. And I knew that that was my calling, that this was my way, which is so weird because there's so many support groups and there's so many places that you can go and talk about this. But it wasn't until that day, whenever it was, that I contacted Brie. I'm like, this is my story. This is why I need to join a group of women and some men to tell my story, to reach out and connect with somebody, because I guarantee there's 5 people that all of us can say, yeah, they were in a domestic violent relationship, and none of them want to admit it. In fact, maybe some of you guys on this call have been in that situation. So it's something I don't ever like talking about, but I'm extremely passionate about it. And I knew, like, this was my way to let it all out and relieve it all. So I joined Beachbody.
I mean, I don't love that, but like,
no, I know. Another thing too, like, with it, and I watched so many people and the team, the people that I do follow, like, everybody has their story, and it's amazing to see. Like, some people are doing it for a weight loss journey. Some people are doing it because they were, you know, addicted to drugs or alcohol, and, like, they needed a place to, like, escape, and this was their escape. Like, I've always loved working out. You wouldn't catch me dead in a gym. None. Not at all. I hated gyms. I didn't like to pay $400 a month just to be a member.
Just so your kid could go to a smelly daycare.
Right. You're right. No, thank you. So when I started and I got my stuff, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to dive right in, and here I go. I took the Energizer and I was like, yes, ma'am, this is what I needed. And just working out, and, like, that's where I'm at right now, is, like, the working out and starting to make the connections and networking. And yeah,
I love it.
I feel like I'm rambling. I'm a rambler.
No, I love what you said, is, like, you've watched for 5 years thinking you didn't have a story and then realized you did. And I think that is literally such a key like part of so many people hear these dramatic stories, and like maybe I share my story and it's like seems really dramatic, but like I had a growing up with like a mom and a dad, and there was no divorce, and like I was homeschooled, and like I kind of felt the same way, you know, diving in. I was like, who cares about me? Like nobody cares about my story. Brie, you're 22. People have kids at 22 all the time. Like you are like you're being dramatic about this story, but honestly, I think that everybody has a story that somebody else needs to hear, right? Like I think we downplay the things that we've been through because we start to compare them to other people's stories and go, well, mine's not as traumatic, or mine's not as crazy as this, or I wasn't adopted, or I wasn't this and that. And it's like, no, like it doesn't have to be sad. It doesn't have to be scary, but we all need humans in our life that are supporting and encouraging and like-minded as us. And I think that's where the connection piece is.
One thing that I really like about this is like the workouts and like put that aside and like the meal plans, but like just the connections. I mean, I've known Brie for how many years, but like just the connections I've made. Is Chelsea on here? Chelsea, are you on? You are on, girl.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You guys are so
we started following each other on social media, and we like instantly connected, and we're both vegetarian, and it's like, okay, she's clear down in Knoxville, Tennessee, dude, and I want to take a trip down there. And I'm like, this is the stuff that I need. This is the group of people who are near and far that you can connect with.
Yeah.
And like Brie and I's stories are like completely different, but like if you think about it, they're very much the same. And it's just our story. It's what we're telling.
Yeah, I think the connections is huge. And that just goes to show, like, to recap as far as like coaching goes, it's like, hold on. Mute. Somebody came unmuted. Sorry. Okay. It goes to show, like, it doesn't matter what your story is. It doesn't matter where you're at in your fitness journey. I think both you and I can attest, like, yeah, fitness keeps me sane. I'm a busy mom, and like it keeps me sane and it makes me feel good. And I know mentally I'm in a better headspace when I do it. Like, do I need to lose a bunch of weight? No. Do other people do it to like lose weight or gain weight? Yes. Like everybody's like in different places in their life, and
to be completely honest, not to interrupt you, but like those people that are on here to lose weight, or like they just had a baby and they, you know, like whatever it is, but like I can relate to that. Like I also had baby fat, but like for me, I didn't have to start here to do that, but there's a reason that I needed to start this. So yeah.
I think no, you're good. Like I think the connection is a big factor that people miss in that friendship and that support. Because when you walk in a gym or you walk into a fitness class or whatever, and you still feel like that isolated, alone person, if you don't have a friend going with you, whatever, you still don't have that connection, and you still don't have the gym calling you going, hey, we know you had those goals, and like we haven't seen you this week. You know, that interaction of girls just like supporting each other.
The accountability from your team is amazing. Yeah.
It's incredible. Like I have never had best friends like this ever in my life. Like I didn't have college friends. Like I said, I was homeschooled. I didn't have that support from like, oh, my best high school friends. Like I didn't have any of that. And yes, I have two sisters, but like they're very different. And I wanted people that were like-minded as me, that weren't wanting to settle, that weren't just like, oh, I guess I'm just going to make my whatever X amount a year, and that is what it is because my job is just, that's where I am. So as a coach, like, you can do whatever you want. Like, you can literally brand yourself and make this with the support of others, because there's no, like, I'm going to beat you and I'm going to win. It's like we all do this together.
Mm-hmm. And I've gotten asked too from a few people, like, oh, you just started your photography business and you're building that to what it is. And yes, that's booming right now. But they're like, well, why are you like, you wanted to not work so much and now you're working? And it's like, I am at home behind my computer. I'm writing things down. I'm connecting on social media, and I can limit that to like 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, like at work at a retailer, I was working 9-hour days.
Yeah. It's insane, like I mentioned at the beginning, like the time flexibility. Like,
yes.
I don't need to be a millionaire. I just want to support my family and do the things that I want to do around the times that work best for me. So I do want to run through really quick, because anybody hopping on the call thinking about jumping in, kind of like, okay, but what does a coach do? Like, so coaching.
We just told our stories.
Yeah. So I think it's encouraging to hear from somebody that's been in the business and somebody that's just diving in. And as a coach, you do get websites. So you get your websites, you get set up. You have an online back office, which is where all the customers go, and Beachbody does all that for you. So you sign somebody up, they go in your online office, and you can see very much like who your customers are and who your team is and all that. We don't have to have product. Like, we don't have to house product, which, amen. Like, I don't want to do house parties. I don't want to pack up any bags of things and have my weekends crammed with house parties to try and sell product that's in my house. That is all done for you. So there's a whole customer service team behind you as you share what you're doing and share your journey for others to purchase through the website, okay, that you're going to get. You get 25% of all sales. So commission-based, you get 25% of any sales that you make. And honestly, the savings of Shakeology alone add up as a coach. You get 25% off everything you order. So as a coach, you're going to want to use the products, be proof that the products work, so that you don't have to be saley and tacky and spammy and posting about it. You're sharing about what you're using and what you're loving. No home parties, like I said. The startup fee is $40 to get started as a coach, and then whatever products, whatever workout program that you think is going to fit you best, you can talk to the coach that invited you to this and kind of figure out what's going to be a good fit for you. And then there's a $15 service fee every single month for maintenance of your websites and the customer service care and all that. So there's no cancellation fees. There's no home parties. And if it doesn't work out for you, there's no cancellation of any kind. You can be like, okay, I gave it a try. But what I will say is that it's a lifestyle, and what you put into it is going to be consistency over time to reap benefits. It is a business, which means you have to work it like a job if you are wanting to get paid like it's a job, like it's a business. So I think that's pretty much the basics. We do, as we grow teams, we do earn cycle bonuses. There's like extra bonuses and incentives as you go, but all of that will be, we have a team page. We have all of the things that you need. We have trainings for social media. We have team calls. We have chats on Monday mornings if you have questions. We have one-on-one mentorship. So whatever it is that you need, you get. You're not doing this alone. You're not signing up and then trying to sell shit. Like, the
chats are amazing. They're literally life-changing. Going into this, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to like literally do all this stuff. But like, you get on these chats and you ask your question, and there's like 40 other people who have that same question, and it's answered.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Everybody's doing it together. Like, I don't know. It's so much fun. Like, I could say that a million times, is like, the community is so much fun. Like, doing this doesn't feel like work. Like, it pinched me. Like, this is my job. This is what I do. I get to be on calls with women that want more out of life, you know, that want to level up. Our team is called Level Up for a reason, because it's people that don't want to settle, that feel a tug at their heart, that, you know, whatever they're doing in life, that they want more. They feel this tug that they are either called to help and serve other people, or they just want more than where they're at right now. So we have celebrity trainers. We have the clothing. We have the support of nutrition experts, and we are the cheerleaders that help go out and share what this business, what these workouts, what the stuff can do if you dive into the community. So that's what a coach does. Let's wrap it up. I don't want to keep everyone hanging for like hours upon hours, but I'm so excited for you guys to get on. I'm loving the chat. Chelsea, love you. That's so cute. And again,
let me just tell you guys really quick side note. Bree signed up 3 Chelseas in the same like week.
Yeah. I think I must have been like manifesting that name and not even knowing it. Those 2 are next. They're going to host their
right, the Chelsea and Chelsea show.
Yes, you guys should just all 3 host your own, start a podcast.
Yeah.
Love it.
I would love my own podcast.
Yes, let's do it.
Let me just add a third business into this.
As if you have nothing else going on.
Right.
Photography, this, that, whatever. All right, so I will record this. I will post it up so everybody can have the recording if they want to share it with somebody. Chelsea, thank you for getting on and doing this with me. I know it's kind of scary. But all right, guys, have a good night. If you resonated with this, reach out to the person that invited you so that you can get the final details and set up to join the squad. All right, I'm going to end the call. Good night, everybody.
Bye.